So Christian, we go way back, man. So the Soul Project started.
Where you going?
I mean, tell me what year? What 2000?
Yeah, it was truthfully 2000 when that the name Soul Project. That was back when a name like that was cool. That's when it came. It came to me, and it just kind of it ended up sticking. It was originally the solo project because I had come to town. I had left another band that we were doing our thing, and it went where some bands go, just nowhere, and and I was left by myself. So it was the solo project originally, and then it kind of just morphed into the Soul Project, and it didn't happen right away because I had come here. I had never. We were talking to Willie yesterday during that interview, that great interview. He was saying, that WWOZ, if you're not listening, you don't know what a second line is.
Right.
And man, I spent many more years than I want to count living in the suburbs up north, never even understanding who the Meters were. Barely knowing who Dr. John was. I knew Aaron Neville because he had a couple of hit songs. Didn't know the Neville brothers. That was too many years of my life wasted, in my opinion.
With the wool over the eyes.
Yeah, so when I came here and I started hearing all that, I was way behind the curve. Still am, to be honest. But, man, that was it, man, understanding what was beautiful about this place and the music.
Well, when I first met you, you were playing with Walter Wolfman Washington. That was a gig that you held for many years. Yeah, big shout out to Walter, man.
Boss.
Patron saint, man. We love you, Walter. So would you like to talk about how you got that gig? Because I know that was kind of Soul Project. You were doing both when I first saw you, and a lot of the guys were playing in both bands. It was a really special time. Talk about how you got the Walter gig and what it was like playing with such an amazing New Orleans legend like that.
That was Antonio. Antonio, shout out wherever
Antonio
you at, bro.
Gambrell.
We love you.
Yeah,
We love
Antonio.
you, Antonio. Hope you're doing good, bro. It was Antonio that came to me. He was staying next door to the house of a girl I was hanging out with, and we were on a porch, and I think there were drinks involved. I can't remember, but
Maybe.
he mentioned to me that they needed help driving a van of equipment to Los Angeles because the Roadmasters were going to Los Angeles, and the original Tom couldn't make the trip. He had to do some other things.
And by the way, what was the Roadmasters lineup? Is that the Jack Cruz Junkyard Dog?
Jack Cruz, this was in one of the Junkyard Dog breaks because it was Lily.
Okay.
Lily was playing drums, and I mean, I love Lily. And, of course, Tom Worrell was on the keyboards, and Tom was my best friend on that trip.
Yeah, you're right. Big shout out to Tom.
So we ended up, I ended up helping to drive all the equipment out there, and I went out there, and I had seen Walter once or twice, but I never met the man, never met Jack Cruz. They were flying in because, they're the big stars. And we got to the first gig in Manhattan Beach, California, and all I remember is I was getting out the van and bringing my guitar. I had a battery-powered amp. And I was taking it in, and Walter came right by me, and he scared the hell out of me. He goes, "What do you think you're doing? You think you're going to come play with us? You bringing your guitar and your amp, you're going to come play with us?" I was like, no, sir. I was just going to bring my amp in and see if I could find somewhere on the street, make some money on the street. David, you know what I'm talking about. So he said, "Come here." And we sat down at a table, and I got to be honest with everybody, and if you know Walter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Me and him talked for a good 10 minutes straight, and he said lots of stuff, and I still to this day have no idea what the man said to me. No idea what he said to me. But the words were meaningless. It wasn't the words at all, bro. Right. He was checking me out and checking out through my eyes.
Walter
what
has
I could
his own
do.
way of communicating that.
And after that conversation, he said, "Go ahead and put yourself on stage, come play with us." And after the show, he said, "Come on tour with us and finish the tour." And that's how it all started.
That's how the gig happened. That's amazing. So that was your audition, basically. Just getting up on stage and playing. I like it, man. That's a very authentic New Orleans story right there. And a big shout out to Walter. I'm sure, you learned a lot from playing with Walter, I know. And I used to see Walter give you your chances to shine. Y'all would be jamming, and all of a sudden he'd just turn around, point at you, and be like, "Christian."
The scariest moment of any gig. To be honest with you.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, for those of you sitting at home, Christian and I first met each other. We tell a story every now and then.
Oh.
But 2003, he was working at Tipitina's. I wasn't even old enough to drink. The show was sold out. It was Art Neville, Buddy Guy, Dr. John, house band, and I believe Henry Butler sat in. Anyways, it was a benefit. There was no guest list, any of that. I had worked for a band playing the night before. thought we'd be able to maybe get our ways in. Didn't quite work out, and there was a little gap in the fence, and I was desperate, had to see the show. I somehow squeezed through it. This is before the quarantine 15 or any of that. I was way thinner in those days. I somehow squeezed through this foot-long gap in the fence, found myself by these dumpsters, was cruising in, and all of a sudden, Christian pops out of nowhere and straight up busted.
I mean, I didn't pop out of nowhere. I was already out there. I was taking my break.
Right.
You know, I was just out there doing my thing and hanging out for a second. And this kid comes in, and I'm watching him squeeze through the gate. And I'm kind of just sitting there watching him. And he's squeezing through. It took a minute. And he gets through, and he gets in, he turns around by the dumpster, turns right around, right in my face. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, oh, man, I'm just trying to get in to see the show, yeah?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. And he was like, come with me. And I thought he was throwing me out, and he walked me into, like, third row center.
Because,
like, I'll talk to you later.
I could tell, I could tell that you were there for the right reason. You weren't trying to get into a show. You were trying to get in to be part of the show.
Right.
And man, I saw that right away.
I appreciate that, man. All these years, I still do thank you for that. And it
right
was
back
a
at you,
magical experience. First time I ever saw Art Neville at Tipitina's. Buddy guy, Dr. John. First time I'd ever seen Dr. John. It was
magic,
so
yeah? Magic.
Thank you for that, man. So, yeah, we got a lot of memories like that over the years. And I saw you Soul, start the Soul Project up. You used to have a weekly gig at Bank Street Bar every Tuesday night.
Oh, that was the greatest. Man,
religiously.
Can we get the Bank Street?
Can
we get the Bank Street Bar back open again? I mean, like that was Maria. When Maria owned the bar, shout out to Maria. I hope you're watching too. I miss you. But when she had the bar, it was like she didn't know what she was doing, which obviously because she hired us and promised us money to come play every week. But she allowed us to become a band, man. We had Boyana Trianova on drums, Chris Wansealer on the bass guitar, brother Chris.
Yep.
Man, that's smooth white chocolate right there. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, man, we just did our gigs. We played until 3, 4 in the morning, and people came out.
On Tuesday nights.
Yeah,
that's when you had to walk through the band to get to the bathroom at the Main Street Bar.
Man,
Christian would literally tilt his guitar just a little bit to the side, and you cruise through.
That's not the first time I've had to be in a bar where I was in the way of that. That's some fun stuff.
Right.
Some fun stuff.
Every now and then Walter would come and sit in too. That was always special.
And then Walter came and took the Thursday night gig and really made that joint jump. And he had that gig for years. That was the place to be on a Thursday night, right?
It was, man. It was. That was some good times. Good times there. And big shout out to the old school Tipitina's crew too from back in those days.
Love you.
The Rock and Roll Soldiers, Joe Cool Davis, all those
Fly.
cats. Yeah,
Fly.
Bobby Fly, the original Rock and Roll Soldier. Anyway, so much love there, bro. I remember another time. We'll get to what you've been up to now. One more last story. I mean, we were at a crawfish boil in a 13th Ward. Soul Project was playing, and they go into Hey Pocky Way, and they look up from their instruments, and Zigaboo and Leo Nocentelli are standing right there watching them. You remember that?
Barely, because when I didn't realize it at the time, bro. I didn't know. I was busy just playing, man. And then Big Jeff Harris, you out there, bro? We love you. We miss you, man. Where you at?
The OG.
Big Jeff, he came out. You go, you see Leo? He's over there. He's watching you. Yep. I was like, thanks, bro. Now I'm really feeling. Now I'm on the spot again, man. That was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
It was a good time. That was just par for the course back in those days.
Sure thing.
So, anyways, man, you got a great band playing with you tonight. Y'all really put it down. I'm enjoying it. I'd like to introduce these guys, talk about how you guys started playing together, and
yeah, I would love to, man. There's a couple. I think I got to start with my oldest friend in the band right here to my left, the one and only David Ludman. Now, when I met him, his name wasn't David Ludman. He told me his name was Huck. I mean, sorry, bro. It was true. I mean, it was.
I was going through a phase. It's all right.
He had long dreads, and he was playing saxophone in Austin, Texas. And I ended up there, and I was on my leaving New Orleans because I needed to catch up to what I was hearing. So I left on a Greyhound bus and just started going around the country. And I ended up in Austin first, and it was this gentleman that I saw him playing saxophone on the street, and he was making money. And I'm like, oh, I need some money. Hey, can I come and play with you? And he's like, yeah, come on, man, come on and play. And he taught me a bunch of stuff, just what he wanted to listen to and what he wanted to play. And obviously, the man was talented, more talented than I was, and we were making our money on the street. David, tell me about how you saw it from your side.
Well, I used to play out on the street on 6th Street in Austin, and that's where all the bars were at. It was kind of like Austin's Frenchman, I suppose. And one time, Christian just came up, and he was a real friendly guy. He had really short hair. He had a guitar, and he started playing with me. But the funny thing was, he was like, I got no money, man. But I was like, why don't you play your instrument on the street? That was the most obvious thing to me, because that's the only thing I'd been doing for about a year. And so he started joining me, and we played together for a few weeks, actually.
Yeah, and you hooked me up, because like I had nowhere to stay. I literally got off the plane and was sitting there, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. It was an interesting point in my life. And he's like, oh, I got some friends right here on 6th Street on that second floor overlooking 6th Street.
Yeah, over the sex shop.
Right over the sex shop. It's true. It's true. And he got me a place to stay. He showed me where the cheap food was. He understood where you can get a piece of pizza, and it was pretty good pizza too.
Yeah, not too bad.
If you were a musician, they let you have it for
half
$1.
price.
Half price, yeah. It was good.
But yeah, Christian went on his way. I went on my way as well. And the funny thing is, we had known each other for a few weeks, but about a year later, I was playing the saxophone in Portland, Oregon, because I was just looking around, where do I want to settle myself and really start studying music more seriously. And while I'm playing one day, I just hear a guitar behind me, and I turn around, and Christian's there, and he's playing along with me. And it was so spooky, man.
Let me break in. This is what happened. What happened was, I was on a bus, and I think at that point I went from Minnesota. I was in Minneapolis, and I ended up in Boulder for a while. And then after Boulder, I got on another bus heading for Seattle, because I had some friends in Seattle I wanted to go check out. And that bus ride took a lot out of me. The bus driver, he looked like he was trying to be Burt Reynolds. He looked like Burt Reynolds. He dressed like Burt Reynolds. He drove a bus like Burt Reynolds drove a Trans Am. And that was kind of scary, going through some of the mountain passes. It was scary. So we got to Portland, and I just had enough of that bus. And I got off, and I was like, even though my ticket was in Seattle, I got all my stuff, and I got off. And I'm like, I'm just going to stay here. And the next day, walking around the city just looking for the right place to go make money, I heard a saxophone. And sometimes, see, when people got their instrument, they play their instrument, they play their voice. You ain't learning how to play like somebody else. You ain't doing nothing else. Like Walter, one of the greatest kids, he told me was like, just be yourself. Be yourself. So when you hear somebody and you know who they are, I heard David blocks away, and I said, I know who that is. I don't know why he's here, but I know exactly who that is. And I followed the sound through the blocks and ended up, I saw him down the block, and he wasn't looking at me. I was like, that's Huck. That's Huck. And so I went and set up, and he was too busy playing, because, he cares about his music. He don't care about nothing else. He didn't see nothing. And I set up behind him and started playing, and he turned around, and it didn't even break a beat. I think he kept on playing, and it was just right in the moment, and we just made some music, yeah?
That's right.
Did you make money?
That doesn't explain how I got into the Soul Project. We made a few bucks. We were making our way. We didn't need much, to be honest.
Didn't need much.
When you got a tent, you don't need much.
Amen.
But yeah, that doesn't explain how I got into the Soul Project, because that was 2000 era. And
that was 2001, and then it was 9/11 is what happened. 9/11 happened, and I was that's my cue to leave and get back to New Orleans, because who knew what was going to happen in the world. So I ended up back in New Orleans. David, I have no idea what happened to him, although now that I know, you ended up somewhere pretty special too.
Well, I mean, I went to the New School in New York and studied jazz for a while. Then I joined the Peace Corps, and I lived in Benin for 3 years, teaching English, playing as much music as possible. I started a little group called Modern Village with some young Beninese musicians, which was amazing. And then I decided to settle in New Orleans, and this was 2010. And within a few weeks of being here, I hadn't played any gigs. I'd sat in at about 2 clubs, and I went by a club. It was actually BMC at the time. And Zena Moses was singing, and I thought she was pretty hip. and I wanted to play with her, and so I was like, "Hey, could I sit down on this tune?" And she said,
He came and talked to me. He came,
"Ask the guitar player. It's his band."
Yeah, come and talk to the guitar player. So he comes over. I saw the dude walk in. I saw him. I was like, dude, that's Huck. Because I saw your dreads, because you had cut them off and grown them again.
Grown him back. It was 10 years later.
So I saw him, and he came over, and he's like, hey, can I sit in? And I was like, Huck, you can sit in anytime you want. And he was like, because by that point, apparently, he changed his name from Huck to David Ludman. I don't know what happened. But I said, you don't remember, dude? Austin, Portland. And he was like, holy shit. And by that time, I had grown some dreads.
Yeah.
So I look different. I look different, too.
You had me fooled.
And from that day.
Yeah, he said, what are you doing Thursday?
Thursday's a cafe in the grill. It
yeah,
was over
pretty
with.
much until quarantine. I was there
16
every
years
Thursday for
later.
the last 10 years.
Exactly.
And that's how I joined the Soul Project.
All right, I like it.
Awesome.
It's a good in-depth tale right there. It's some great moments, man. I'm appreciating that. I think I saw you sitting with Soul Project one time, and I don't know, maybe New York or something, Brooklyn, like in Red Hook, maybe bait and tackle, or
Are you talking David?
yeah,
Oh no, that was at Bembe.
Bembe.
The tiniest
Bembe.
club. When I say we're the
In Park
tightest,
Slope,
when I
South
say we
Slope.
are the tightest band in the country, what I mean is we can fit into the tightest
small
spaces because we had keyboards, guitar, drums, and bass in the back corner, and 2 horn players sitting on the chairs behind us.
Right.
You remember the chairs? Like they were sitting up top. And we did a whole gig, and people had to come in. I had to move my guitar out the way to let people in the door.
Right. That was a good gig, man. That was a cool
That was a great
spot,
gig,
too.
man.
Yeah, man. Bembe. Good job. Shout out to Bembe, all of our folks listening from Brooklyn area.
Brooklyn.
Anyway, so now you got Mr. Wanda over here on the bass.
Well, Wanda, that's a whole nother story. Hold on a minute. Let me change my perspective here. Wanda, I saw Wanda playing in a reggae band. And they were and are a great reggae band. Higher Heights. And I would be at Cafe in the Grill because that was our home for many years, Frenchman Street. We started on that Frenchman Street way back right after the storm. And I saw Wanda play, and I was like, damn, that girl's a good bass player. I mean, she knows how to do it. She got the right tone. It was the tone I liked that you had. And then she started working the door. And tell them about what you saw when you was working the door as we were playing the Soul Project all them years.
Well, I watch y'all. I don't have the big story like y'all do because my mama wouldn't let me go nowhere like that.
Mama.
Not mama, huh? Mama. But yeah, I worked the door for a while they were playing, and I used to sit there every Thursday and hum their songs. I must have worked the door for y'all at least 2 years before I started playing.
She learned all the songs, and I know that because when I finally got to it, because it takes me forever. When I finally went to her house and we were going to rehearse the first time, she was going to play our songs. She knew all the songs. She knew every single one of them.
I mean, I practiced a song when you gave them to me, but I mean, I knew everything.
No, I said, how do you know all these songs? Like I said, this sounds great. It's because she had to sit there for how many Thursdays and listen to the whole
2 years
damn
of Thursdays,
show.
that's okay. And
The good, the bad, the
and
ugly.
I'm a hummer, so when I hear stuff like that with horns, I'm always humming it.
Yeah, well, she got it, and
For
well,
the
Wanda,
other people like in New Orleans, if you don't know me, my name is Wanda Joseph. I am Joe Gunn's daughter. Most musicians know Joe Gunn, so that was my dad. Although that wasn't his real name, people think I'm Wanda Gunn, but that's okay. But he bought me a guitar one day, and he asked what we wanted. For Christmas, I said, get me a guitar. And just like a man, he came home with a 12-string box guitar. I came and play a 6-string. I'm like, well, so I knew what to do. I took the little harmonic string off, and my little brother came and asked me, he said, how you like your guitar? I said, well, I really wanted a bass. I said, but I'll learn on this. So I figured if we hadn't had that conversation, I might be playing guitar or nothing.
I am so glad you are not playing guitar
Right.
because you would be killing it if you were playing guitar. I would not have a job.
Well, no, I wouldn't be in your band probably. Yeah. But if I sat on the drums like I should have all them years, because I've had drums around me all my life, and I could play a little.
Yeah, I know
But
that.
I never sat down and played the drums. I'm kind of disappointed about that now, because now once you play, you always want to play something else.
Yeah, well, that's the Soul Project. The Soul
And he won't
Project,
let
the
me
Soul
play
Project.
bass. He won't let me play.
Oh, no.
So I joined the band. Well, it was the Will Funk in 2016. It was just a trio. And after a while, he gave me the job with Soul Project.
That's actually, well, I mean, you had the job from the beginning, but I just couldn't tell you because I know how you are.
There you go.
No, you didn't know me.
And that was at the
If
time.
you had known me, you might not want.
Yeah, I
to
might have thought I might have thought about a couple different directions.
Because I am Wanda. I am
You
Magic
are
Wanda.
Wanda. You
I'm
are
Wanda.
Wanda.
Damn it! I tell you.
I tell you. Well, the Will Funk is interesting because that's when we found Aaron back there on the drums.
That's right.
We were trying
Us
out, you know,
trio right here.
yeah, we were doing a trio. We weren't making no money.
He was trying to make some extra money, but we didn't really make.
There was no money. It was, but we was out there just trying to see what drummers would fit with us, and well, Aaron came and did his thing, and he showed us he was willing to learn what we were doing and willing to put up with us because it ain't easy, right?
What are
Is
you
it-
talking? Oh,
it ain't easy.
It's a dream come true. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Aaron, talk about your perspective of the band before you joined the band.
How much time you got?
Not enough.
You got 2 minutes.
There you go.
I had been in New Orleans for a while, and I'd been seeing Soul Project on Frenchman Street for years. And I was friends with their original saxophone player. Not original. I don't know how the order went, but there's a guy named Phil Morin. And
Brother Phil.
Brother Phil had been playing with me in a band that I used to lead called the Resident Aliens. And that band was we weren't working that much. I was trying to look around for more work. And so I kind of put it in Phil's ear. I was like, hey, man, if you know anybody who might be looking for a drummer. He was like, well, why don't you come talk to my man Christian here? And that's kind of how at least it started.
Oh, Phil, I owe you something now.
And y'all been hitting ever since.
That was
huh?
your fault?
Nice. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Christian took his time. I didn't know. I still don't know what he's up to. You know, he was like, "Yeah, come on, you can play on these Wednesdays. We'll play from 6 to 9. We'll make $35 a man, and we'll."
You made 35?
With
I messed up.
That's pretty good, huh?
drink some free $1 beers, and I was like, "Yeah, cool." I didn't have a regular Wednesday gig. It was great, and so I didn't realize at that time, but I was learning the whole repertoire as a trio, which frankly I can never hear David anyways, and barely hear Jeremy. So I was learning the book, and I didn't even really think about it at the time. So Christian did a good job of like low key teaching me the whole gig in front of
there you
like.
go.
That was my plan, by the way. That was totally my plan.
Well, the bartenders
Exactly
loved
what I
it. The
meant to do.
bartenders loved it.
Well, that's another good thing about when you come to the Funky Uncle Lounge. It always looks and sounds great because we got such a great crew doing their thing. But Jeremy over there on the keys, man, what you up to, man? How you feeling, bro? Say
I
what's
got
up.
a couple thoughts about the things that I heard because I've been in the band right about when
The
David.
same time as David,
did-
10 years.
Yeah, well, actually, with the event you were talking about, I was kind of pissed that all of a sudden the sax player shows up because now we had to trade off Thursdays to start being in the band and prove ourselves.
Can you explain?
Is that the
can you-
rookie thing? How do you call
Can
that?
you explain how, as a band leader, I actually made that palatable to the both of you? Because that still amazes me.
I don't know how you sold it, but I wasn't
Master
buying
negotiator.
it. It's like I'm not gonna play when I'm not getting paid or something.
Well, wait. Well, how did I say it though, Jerry? I said it. I think I said.
No,
I said, look, I can't pay both of
He
you.
wanted
but,
us to pay our dues.
But I
you
will
know.
pay you. Like everybody gets a week. This week I pay you. Next week I pay David. But if you want to
And I
show
was
up
like,
on
no,
the
I wanna
gig,
get paid every time.
if you want to show up on the gig and play anyway, I'll split the tip money with you.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
So I probably didn't show up. Yeah.
It didn't last long, but it did not take long before
No,
I
it's just that,
realized
yeah.
before I realized everybody got to get paid because these cats really brought it, and that's when the Soul Project took shape.
He's not that kind of guy.
Whatever.
He's the best band leader in town that I know of. Yeah. So
Thank you.
I got a couple things. If I could recap, because I heard a couple things. You said it was called the Solo Project. So
It was.
how many original bands are left?
Well, the Soul
One.
Project has none at all. Actually, I barely am still in the Soul Project personally, but there have been.
Sorry, I had to place that. I
It's
heard
an
There are members-
institution, really, at this point.
there are members across the country.
It's like the Yankees or the Saints.
It's
at
a
last
beautiful
count,
thing.
At last count of the Soul Project, I believe there was 50 plus members of the Soul Project.
Dang.
And when I say that, it means because everybody that's played with the Soul Project from day one until now, I always was so I had gratitude towards everybody who would come and sit and just try and make music with us. That as far as I'm concerned, y'all still in the band. We just in different places and we making music here and there.
It was
But
always a family affair. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what it was. Everybody was coming to do the right
Welcomed
thing.
everyone.
And,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
what's been shared is like really been pretty intense, you know, like we do in New Orleans, the way we.
Well, what you think that means, Christian? That the
don't know.
band's still going. That means we have
Doing something
a
right.
good leader.
Oh, they all
You know?
loving on me tonight.
No,
this is.
Well, I've
Are
told
we
you this.
recording this, please? Because I need
I've
to
told you this
record this and
before.
play it back. I need it on my phone.
It don't matter how many deadheads you have. All it takes is one person to run a band, and that's what you have done for the life of a Soul Project.
Thank you.
I know we can all be a-holes sometimes.
What did you call me?
No, y'all are perfect. What are you
But
talking
no,
about?
no, you're right. But I'm saying, I mean, you're a leader, and I mean, you keep it going. You know.
I'm glad you are, man. Like I said, I've been seeing Soul Project since the beginning, pretty much, and I've never stopped. So I've seen probably most of the 50 members that I've been through.
You've
at
seen just
one
about all of
point
them,
or
bro.
another. I've seen all types of great moments too. Let's talk about that one time. I remember my friends went to ACL and they came back and they're like, "Oh, we went to see the Neville Brothers," and all of a sudden they bring out this guy in a gold suit and starts ripping guitar, and we look at it, it was Christian. Let's talk about that day, bro.
Do you want to hear about that gold suit? 'Cause, like,
Yeah, what's up with that suit? I ain't
The
seen it in a
real
minute,
story
bro.
is the suit. And now look, when I got in the band, Junkyard Dog was not in the band, but he rejoined the band for another tour. It was an East Coast tour, and I remember Massachusetts and Nantucket Island and Boston, and there was a run up there that we did, and Junkyard gave me a suit. he came. That son of a bitch. He came and said, he goes, "I want to give you my suit." And it was a beautiful gold, suit. I don't know. Like nothing I should have been wearing. I don't know what I was thinking. But he goes, "I want to give you this suit." So I took it. Of course I did.
You had to,
Junkyard.
bro.
Junkyard.
Dog. Big
He
shout
gave
out to
it
the
to me.
Junkyard Dog.
So I wore that suit, and we did a concert in Austin, Texas. It was awesome. That's when the Nevilles were there, and it was it was Austin. It wasn't maybe the City Limits Festival or something
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
ACL.
Okay.
That's what it was, ACL.
And Walter told me the best part was Walter told me before he went out. He goes, "Watch me tonight. Watch me. Like I'm doing something special tonight." And he went out there and he did something I never seen him do before. He was doing. It wasn't quite splits, but it was basically he was doing splits and spins and dances and Walter was just like making the crowd.
Wow.
He was playing guitar with his
T-Bone
teeth.
Walker.
What year was that?
This was I don't know
04,
2004 or 5. Yeah, it was before the storm. That's for sure.
Yeah, right before
Oh.
And he was like, watch me. Like, it was the biggest crowd we ever played to, including Jazz Fest up to that point. So there were, it was thousands of people. I couldn't believe it. And he went out there and he just controlled them. So that's what I remember. But I did wear that suit. It was very hot that day. And I was sweating because it was way too much suit for that kind of day. But Junkyard gave it to me. So I wore it. I found out later, Junkyard, I love you, bro. I love you. You know I do.
Junkyard.
But I found out later that the reason Junkyard gave it to me, he was having some fun. The suit, there had been some, I don't know how to put this correctly. There were some stains on the suit, some stains
What kind of stains?
that did not come out of the cleaning. And when it didn't come out of the cleaning, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna give this to Christian and let Christian wear the suit." And I did, and I wore that suit. And you know what? I would wear that suit again because Junkyard Dog was that was one in a million.
Junkyard was amazing.
Well, I don't see you doing any splits on stage.
But
Apparently
you
you
wore it
didn't
on
watch
stage,
Walter
but you're
too
missing the
good.
point, though, Christian. You wore it on stage with the Neville brothers, though.
Well, I wasn't on stage with them. I wish I had been
Yeah.
with them. But
Okay, didn't you?
No, I was not. I was there.
All right. Maybe it was that was the set before the Nevilles or whatever.
Yeah,
that
we
set.
played right before him. So
Gotcha.
it was we was
That's
close
right.
enough for me. Trust me, I'm
Yeah,
proud and I brag about that in my private life for sure.
Yeah,
still
it
have
was a
the
good
suit,
New
don't
Orleans
you?
moment over there at ACL.
For sure.
Good stuff. And another thing I wanted to talk about, the days after the storm, the year after the storm was definitely a rebuilding process for everything. But the New Orleans music community really just came back with a vengeance. It was a hard fight, but everyone was very dedicated to rebuilding the scene and keeping it going. And I remember Soul Project being one of the bands that really led that march. You were playing every gig you could get. It wouldn't be a lot of money, and it was times were lean, but everyone would come out and dance together, and it was really, you know, spiritual thing. So not everyone can talk about that because not everyone lived through that.
Man,
but you did, man.
That time right after the storm was a super special time because that's when Frenchman Street was born. I mean, like they're you know, the Snug Harbor was always there, and Blue Harbor before that. What was it called before?
Dream Palace?
Yeah, the Dream Palace. Like there was music going on, and of course the over there they had the reggae over at what do you call it? You know, it was there, but it was, you know, it was a bunch of, you know, college kids and all us you know, young kids. Like I remember coming the first time I was on Bourbon Street, some dude was like, "You're on the wrong street. Like, you know, young man, you need to go up to Frenchman Street. That's where all your people are at." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So anyway,
Things have changed.
after the storm, well, it was the one amazing thing, and you all well, Wanda, you got some of this. After the storm, it was the only place in New Orleans that had electric and clubs, which was two things that the rest of the city did not have. And all of a sudden, it was the best musicians in town were playing. I mean, like you could walk in. I'll never
7
forget,
nights a week.
Man, Big D playing a guitar at the Cafe in the Grill, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, all right, man.
Really?
Ooh, it was so good, man, what they were playing. So you had all these great cats playing on Frenchman, and then we were lucky enough to we went through the original, well, from my point of view, the original owners, and then they passed it on to Bill, who owns it now, Bill Cafe in the Grill. And they gave us our Thursday gigs, man. That was our gig. Thursday for years.
They were not the original owners.
Years and years. No, they weren't.
Because the original owners was from like '98.
Yeah.
I know them, but I can't remember who they are. Because I remember when they opened that club, because I used to play with a band called the Shepherd Band. And we used to play at the Cafe in the Grill. Cafe Brazil.
You see, well, there was that huge, at Cafe in the Grill, there's a huge painting of Bob Marley because it was a reggae club.
Well,
it was a reggae club.
Well, it didn't work out, but it changed hands. And right around that time, like you said, we were trying to get a gig with the owners before Bill, and then Cheryl called me. She said, "Why? You're not going to believe this. Girl, the people done lost the club."
Yep.
Then she talked to Bill. That's what I'm saying, because we was asking when we had the party for New Grill.
And Bill,
Say,
I love you. I love
who
you,
know
Bill.
Bill the longest?
I love you, Bill. But he came in. He was, I believe he grew up by Green Bay. Somewhere he's always rooting for Green Bay. So he came from up there. And, man, he came to town and started that club. And in the early days, it was he had that look in his eye of a rabbit in the headlights. He's like, "What have I done?"
Well, he was working, too. He worked. You don't have to work the
he
store
turned
anymore.
He ain't worried about nothing, that dude now. But, yeah, he gave us our chance. And that was where the Soul Project, you know, the Bank Street Bars where we cut our teeth, and the Cafe in the Grill is where we became a band. And that's when Jeremy and David came around and started playing with us. And, you know, of course, the good old days with Colin Davis and Will Repples, one of the best rhythm sections I've ever heard in my life.
Shout out to Colin and Will, for sure.
Yeah, doing their thing. And, you know, we were just lucky to have our time where the locals had discovered Frenchman Street, and that's where the music was at for a while.
Absolutely, man. Those are fun days. Glad to be there, and but most of all, I'm glad to see you guys still putting it down, still bringing this great music to the people. And I hope everyone who's been watching tonight feels the same way. We sure felt good listening to these fine folks play their music here at the Funky Uncle Lounge. And I hope everyone out there in the digital world had that little piece of New Orleans live music culture, you know, live and direct form and in their hearts. And hope you're grooving to it as well. Well, Christian, man, it's been great having you guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for helping keep this whole thing alive. We're going to be back next week with Erica Falls as well. That'll be a lot of fun. But it's been an honor to have you
you're right.
doing
Hey,
this.
Before we leave, can I give my condolences to a friend of mine? His daddy passed from COVID-19 2 days ago. Mr. Jerome, he's a really good guitar player, and COVID has gotten him. And Jerome is a drummer. They're gospel musicians, so be well, Jerome.
Godspeed and rest in peace.
So we hope everyone's staying safe, staying home, all that. And serious. We also lost a long-time WWOZ DJ, the Midnight Creeper.
Man, the Midnight Creeper.
Brother
That hurt
Jesse.
when I heard that, bro. Man, that voice.
Oh, man. One of the best radio voices ever.
Yes, I agree.
When I used to do shows before him, he'd be like, "All right, thank you, Soul Stew," and like it was just a thrill. I don't even want to emulate it because he was so much better than anything I could do. But just hearing him say my name,
that dude was
just
it.
gave me chills. You know, but he was a beautiful cat, and of course also Alfred Uganda Roberts.
Oh,
the
yeah.
legendary percussionist from Professor Longhair, Wild Magnolias, all of it. And Alfred was also one of the sweetest cats you've ever encountered in your life. Beautiful person, a wonderful friend to so many amazing musicians. You know what I'm talking about, Christian.
Man, what a wonderful human being.
Absolutely. So we're all honored to have known him. And here at the Funky Uncle Lounge, and the Funk Fund is here to take care of the musicians that we still got left. That's why we appreciate everything that you out there in the digital world have done to help us keep this going, and we hope you can still help us keep it alive, keep giving that support to those musicians who need it so badly. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in. This has been Sitting In with Soul Stew, such a great band. Much love to the Soul Project, to my brother Christian Duque.
Hey Stu, I hate to cut in, but I got to say one thing. Aaron, since you've been in the band, just give me 4 words that can encapsulate what this band has meant to you over the last years you've been in the band.
You know, don't put me on the spot or anything like that. You know,
that's more than 4 words.
That's his quote. I like it. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Soul Project. This has been such a great time. Everyone out there, wash your hands, stomp your feet. We'll be back next week with Erica Falls. Keep showing us some love live from the Funky Uncle Lounge. Soul Stew, and I'm out.